we're gonna rotate the player pointing towards the mouse position, as you can see. So to get the angle between our player and the mouse position, okay, this angle, you have to subtract the mouse position from your player position. Okay, so you will get able to direct the direction, and by that direction we're gonna able to get that angle. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a separate script to make things simple. Okay, go to assets, right click, create C# script, name that to something like, you can call it player rotation, something like that, and select the player game object. Okay, and drag that script into add component section of player game object, and double click that to open up in Visual Studio. Double click that to open up in Visual Studio. We're gonna get rid of this start function, we don't need that, and we're gonna use this update function. And as you know, update function calls every single frame, so that's why we need to keep track the rotation every single frame. Okay, so what we need the direction. Okay, so what to get direction between two vectors. Okay, you just have to subtract your mouse position from your, sorry, the player position. Okay, you have to subtract the mouse position from your player position, so you will get able to the direction. Okay, by this direction we will able to get the angle. And then what we gonna do, we're gonna add that to Z axis. Okay, if I select the player, and if we go to transform of that player game object, and if we go to rotation, if we play around with Z axis, as you can see, the player will be rotate. Okay, the player will rotate, so we need this Z axis. Okay, and so before that we need to find the angle. Find the angle, firstly we have to get the direction, so we're gonna go over to script once again. So to get the direction, you just have to subtract from your player position. So transform dot position, as you know, the player position. Okay, transform dot position is the player current position, and we have to subtract, okay, our mouse position. So we have to pass this input dot mouse position. Basically input dot mouse position over here means the current position of the mouse position. Okay, wherever the mouse is placed. Okay, so this is the current position of the mouse position. So but this will give us in screen coordinate. Okay, this will give us in screen coordinate. We need to convert this into world coordinate. Okay, so we need to convert that into world coordinates. We have to use this, we need to cast this into this. Okay, camera dot main dot screen to world point. Okay, you have to use this, sorry, screen to world point, and put it into these brackets. Okay, now it will give us, okay, now this will give us uh, into world coordinate. Okay, this will give us into world coordinates. So now we're gonna store this. Okay, we're gonna store this into a vector to direction. Okay, basically we subtracting two vectors. Okay, transform dot position means the current position of the player. It is also basically it's a vector, and also the mouse position is a vector. Okay, vector, so the result will be vector. Okay, so we're gonna store this into another vector, and we're gonna call it vector 2. We're gonna call it something like direction. Basically we are storing equal to this. Okay, so transform dot position means the current position of the player, and input dot mouse position means the mouse position, current position of the mouse. Okay, and we are converting to world point. As you can see, camera dot main dot screen to world point. Okay, so as you know, direction vector 2, vector 2 is a two-dimensional data. It has x axis and the y axis. Now we get the direction. Okay, just you have to subtract your player position and the mouse position. Okay, so it will give you the direction. Now we have the direction. What we're gonna do, we need to find this angle, okay, between our mouse and the player position. We need to find this angle, so you have to use this function. Okay, we're gonna go over to down, and you have to use mathf dot 8 and 2. Okay, so basically this will take the height and the adjustment and adjustment. Okay, it will if we need to find this angle between our player and the mouse position, basically this angle. So what we need to get the height. So we have the direction, so direction dot y, this will be height. As you can see, up and down this will be x-axis, and this adjustment will be x-axis, as you can see. So we have to pass this direction. Okay, direction dot y is the height one, comma direction dot x is the adjustment. Okay, and close that off with semicolon. But it will give us a radian. Okay, we need to convert that radian into degrees. Okay, we need to convert that into degrees. So what we're gonna do, we just have to multiply this with our mathf. Okay, mathf dot rate to degree, rate to degree. So what we're gonna do, it will give us the angle between angle. So it will give us the angle. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna store this into a float variable or a container. Okay, so we're gonna store the result into a container. Okay, so that will be float, as we know float, and we're gonna call it something like angle equal to this. Okay, so this will be this will give us the degree between this degree, and we are storing that into this angle float. Okay, basically this container or float parameter, as you can see. So what we need to go to transform of this player. Okay, so if we go to transform of this player and then rotation, if we play around with z axis, as you can see, the player will rotate. So what we need to go over to script once again, and we're gonna go over we're gonna use, okay, transform dot rotation. Okay, transform dot rotation equal to, transform dot rotation means the current rotation of the player, and we're gonna set equal to, if you want to play around with rotation anything like that, you have to use quaternion. Okay, quaternion, and we're gonna use dot angle axis, quaternion dot angle axis. Basically this will take the angle, and as well as it will take the axis. As you seen, if we play around with z axis, the player will rotate. So firstly we have to pass the angle. Okay, we have to pass the angle, and a second parameter, it will take the axis. Or as we seen, if we play around with z axis, the player will rotate. So we have to pass this vector 3 dot forward, basically means it's at z axis. Okay, and close that off with semicolon and control s on your keyboard to save this, and go over to unity once again. Okay, so it will give us it will, the player will rotate, we are setting. Okay, as you can see, transform dot rotation means the current rotation of the player, we are setting equal to quaternion dot angle axis. As we know, it will take the first angle, and it will take as a second parameter the axis you want to rotate the player. As we know, vector 3 dot forward is the z axis. Now if we play around with the z axis, as you seen, the player will rotate towards the mouse position. Okay, so control s on your keyboard to save this, and if we hit play, okay, if we hit play, and if we move the mouse position wherever, the player will pointing in that direction of the mouse position. Okay, mouse position. So as you can see, wherever I rotate the mouse position, the player will look in that direction. As you can see, I hope you get the idea of basics rotating the player, okay, in the direction of the mouse. Okay, if you are new to my channel, then subscribe for upcoming tutorials. Okay, and if you enjoyed this video, you can like this and share it with your friends. And if you want to support me, you can support me on patreon.com. Okay, and lastly, thanks for watching this.